In important news, we are focusing for the trillionth time on how everyday women are quitting their jobs, such as educators, doctors, and business owners, to pursue a career in selling videos of themselves to thirsty simps online and making $1 bajillion in the process. We won't focus on the fact that the average earnings of women on OnlyFans is only about $151 per month, but will enthusiastically celebrate those that make astronomical sums selling pics of their gluteal cleft, and how liberating, powerful, and amazing they are for doing so. More news on this glamorous lifestyle in tomorrow's broadcast and in every broadcast thereafter. Stay tuned to the mainstream media to fill your head with more information like this. Your overlords feeding you these circuses will be pleased with your compliance.
Hi everyone, just to let you know, I have some old favorites as well as new t-shirt designs on sale right now. Link to find them is in the description, and would like to thank you in advance, as it really does help the channel, as for years now, content like this has been put into an algorithmic black hole, as well as being demonetized. So thanks again, as well as I'm pretty sure you'll find something you will like. History doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. When looking at Rome in the mid-1st century onward, it too was a civilization that was filling up with foreign tribes. Its currency was being continually debased, and already for 100 years, Roman citizens were not having enough children. Fast forward 2,000 years, and our own civilization is marked by many of the same indicators of decline. The Western world has completely lost control of its borders. Its citizen soldiers have now been replaced by a mercenary class, many of whom with no ties to the country or to the flag in which they serve under. The debasement of the currency is now completely and totally out of control, and there are ominous signs that, like the Romans, our own social degeneracy and moral decay has reached such levels that there may be no way for our civilization to recover. Currently, there are a record number of young men that are flaming out academically, wiping out socially with girls, and later failing in relationships with women. Male energy is spoken of as being toxic, and thus many young men with no incentive to contribute to society are simply opting out. Millions of men are dropping out of the workforce, and to add to that the potential of being destroyed by the family courts, as well as the modern dating market, well, these have just made things worse. For their part, women in their late teens and early 20s are chasing the limited number of so-called chads, and when hitting their mid-20s and early 30s, well, things are starting to look just as grim for them. In 2022, half of women are now childless at 30 for the first time ever. And it's also projected in a study commissioned by Morgan Stanley that 45% of strong, empowered women aged 25 to 44 will be single by 2030. That's in 6 years. That is, within the modern dating market, nearly half of women in their childbearing years will be without a male counterpart. What's clear is that there are irreconcilable differences between the genders, and both parties are simply walking away from the other. And while this bodes very, very ill for civilization as a whole, symptoms of this dysfunction between the genders in modern society has spawned many new and destructive attitudes and behaviors in both men and women that are fed by social media, and especially by the Instagram, TikTok, OnlyFans pipeline. It's truly astonishing, mind-bending, in fact, to see the increasing numbers of women today that are producing and marketing lascivious content featuring themselves. Many of these women just a decade ago would never have even entertained the thought of selling such content, let alone pursuing a career as an e-thought. Most would have been mortified. Put simply, the following scenario has played out countless times over the past few years. A regular young woman gains fame for a cute and innocent TikTok dance, for example. As the year unfolds, she gradually takes on a more risque persona, and by the end of the year, she's got an OnlyFans account. It's truly baffling that this phenomenon isn't being studied, considering how prevalent it is and the impact it is having on society. Moreover, what's even more interesting is how the mainstream media has become one of the largest voices championing this new phenomenon. And to be clear, the contemporary social media landscape serves as a gateway, essentially an introduction for women entering the OnlyFans type content landscape. TikTok and Instagram in particular stand out as the most significant platforms shaping this new phenomenon. And this new phenomenon is very, very new, probably for the first time in human history. And why is this? Well, now every girl has the potential to reach a global audience. If the algorithm decides she should go viral for any reason, she suddenly has millions of eyes on her. And this marks an unprecedented moment in time, one that ordinary women have never encountered throughout all of human history up until just the past few years. Suddenly, someone who was once a complete unknown finds herself with a colossal audience. But what does she do with that audience? Well, most will offer that audience something that they are willing to pay for. And for most women, the only commodity they possess that others might realistically pay for is their sexuality. So when the entry drug of Instagram and TikTok likes are no longer enough, many of them move on to posting racier content to quench their legions of thirsty simps that are starved themselves of female companionship.
Stop.
But I'll never do photos in my birthday suit, you silly boys. And then the money starts slowing down, so she posts more lascivious content and then explains, but I'll never do toys.
Stop.
And then it just slides from there on. It's a steady and inevitable process for almost every girl that gets e-famous for any reason whatsoever. Even some former political commentators had joined OnlyFans. And then the cycle propagates and perpetuates itself from there. Young girls browsing TikTok and Instagram get inundated with videos of these seemingly rich, happy, super cool influencer girls in their early 20s driving sports cars and going on glamorous holidays in places like Dubai. Of course, in the content these women put out on safe for work channels, that being TikTok and Instagram, they never mention how or why they have so much money. These influencers never mention things like Dubai porta potty parties that they participate in, for example. But these girls watching these videos on TikTok and on Instagram idolize these same influencers and want that lifestyle for themselves. But their idol influencers' fairy tale lives do come at a cost. And it can't be stressed enough that these influencers and the lifestyle that they maintain have become normalized and celebrated in the mainstream media. So now girls dream of being Instagram e-thoughts and becoming gajillionaires on OnlyFans. But most won't and will have traded their dignity for the price of a hamburger, leaving an internet record of their escapades and make them extremely damaged goods when later looking to form a family and settle down. So then, coming full circle, when we look at ancient Rome's solutions to rampant degeneracy in their own society, well, the first emperor Caesar Augustus implemented many laws that were meant to improve social relations and societal health using the power of the state and its legislative power. These laws included the encouraging of marriage and procreation, penalizing childlessness through reduced inheritance rights, prohibiting sexually promiscuous behavior by law, and making adultery a private as well as public crime, among others. While, of course, none of these laws that were enacted in ancient Rome, none of them would work within the framework of the modern Western world. But without any change of course, it will be safe to say there is no recovering from this. There will be no recovering from this for centuries. This is the winter of our civilization, as Oswald Spengler described it, and its obvious end destination is being helped along by ego, likes, shares, and of course by social media. So then, thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, please check to see that you're still subscribed, as YouTube has unsubscribed tens of thousands of people without their knowledge or consent. If you'd like to help support this channel, it'd be very much appreciated. Ways of doing so are in the description below. And also check the link to the merchandise that was shown at the beginning of this video. It also helps the channel, and I think you might find something you like. So that's it for now. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.